It is officially my first year as a first grade teacher. Today is the first day of school, and I didn't get to school as fast as I thought I would. So now I'm kind of rushing to get everything done. Well, I have everything set up. I just need to, sign in, put my lunch away, do all that extra stuff. Everything else is set up. Their desks are ready, my classroom's ready, most importantly, my schedule is ready, and the routines and procedures are thought out. I hope I don't forget any little thing like reminding the parents that dismissal's early. I already feel like I was supposed to write something down and I forgot what it was. I'm actually calmer than I thought I would be. 2 days ago we had training and I felt like information was being thrown at us, so it felt like I was being overloaded. But yesterday, while I was planning and setting everything up, the excitement started coming back. This is what's on their desk for students to walk in and work on while I take attendance. It's a first day crown craft. I wanted to make something that they could bring home and show their parents. I made it through my first day of school and man, was that crazy. Everything's just back to back to back to back. I had a whole schedule planned out and the timing of it was not the best. Every activity just takes so much longer than you think it does, like coloring and cutting. In my classroom, everything is numbered and students are always expected to stand in their numbered order. That in itself is so hard for them to remember as first graders. I know it's only the first day and there's a lot that's being taken in, so I know that will take a while for them to get used to and nail down. I do have this classroom doorbell. Any teacher needs to invest in this because the second I touch this, hands are on their head, they stop everything, they're looking at me. They learn that so fast. I'm trying to even remember what happened today because after school, everything is just winding down, trying to take everything in. The morning was crazy because look at how beautiful all these flowers are. I got so many flowers from the parents. My whole left side was just filled. I couldn't even see. One of the activities that I planned for today was this, iPhone goals. They were supposed to write my goal for first grade is blank. I didn't really realize that they forgot how to write. So some of them I asked them to just draw a picture and then they weren't supposed to color in here, but then they did. That's going to be covered by a selfie. So we'll see how they react to that tomorrow if their drawing is covered. Hopefully no tears. Today was a half day and I'm sure that a lot of them will be having a harder time tomorrow. But I'm glad that my desks are pretty clean. There's so many procedures that we need to teach, like going into the cafeteria, sitting at the snack table. My class was pretty good at staying seated and making sure that their food wasn't everywhere on the table. And it's hard because all the classrooms are out there too, teaching the same procedures. So it's just crowds and crowds of people. Overall, first day went pretty well. Everything is just so new to them. I'm trying to remember that they're babies. There were a few moments when they asked when we're going home. That broke my heart a little bit. It is the second day of school. I'm finding it really hard to keep up with these videos right now because after school it's just planning and collaborating with other teachers and trying to figure out what I'm doing for the next day. I'll be honest, I'm really struggling. I'm so used to just following a curriculum and modifying it to my students' needs. But this school specifically focuses on teaching the standard and finding the right materials to teach that standard. Again, this is my first year teaching, so there's so much to learn about data collecting and using that data to inform instruction. We have a fire and earthquake drill today, so the game plan is to go over procedures for that, review our calendar, so months of the year, days of the week. I really need to go over supply expectations because each of them have their own pencil box, but there are tools in there that they used yesterday that they weren't supposed to. That's something that I'll need to do next year on the first day of school, which is to go over those expectations and what to use and what not to use. The other first grade teacher gave me this idea to have them write their numbers as an assessment, like 1 to 100, to see which students know the numbers and which students know how to write the numbers. And it's going over recess expectations because this is our first day of having recess. Our school has this Leader in Me program. So the first month is focusing on being proactive. So I'll read this book. Next plan is to have them practice their letter sounds. So going through the ABCs and then following up with CBC words I found just off Google. Today went by a lot better than I expected it to be. Mostly because last night I was having a really hard time adjusting to everything and just feeling confident in what I'm planning and what I'm teaching. I always share my concerns with my first grade team, so I went to the other first grade teacher who's new to the school, but she's been a teacher before, and I was like, I'm planning to review CBC words, and I was going to use Heggerty where you blend the word together. And she gave me an idea where it was introducing short and long vowel sounds through like making an orchestra. If it's a long A, then it'd be like A, ah, and then you're doing this and they're saying which sound it is just for engagement. And wonderful idea because my kids were super engaged with that and a lot of them were participating. But it also made me think like there's so many creative teachers out here and like it comes so naturally for them. It's really hard not to compare myself, but I know I'm a first year teacher and I have experience inside of the classroom, like don't get that wrong, but it's the planning part and making sure that every detail is gonna work for my set of kids. And it's also finding my own teaching style. There's some teachers that are super animated and that's just how they are like on the daily. She gave me more ideas for math. In the morning I had them write 1 to 100 to assess how many numbers they knew and how they were writing it, like whether they were starting at the ones first place and tens place. For writing I had the students write what they did over summer, and it's so hard because some of my students who don't know any English, like they didn't know what to write and probably didn't even understand what was expected of them. I tried to translate the best that I could. I used to take 2 years of Spanish in high school and I was pretty fluent, but I never practiced afterwards and I forgot everything. So I was trying to piece together like words that I remembered. He responded in Spanish. I didn't understand him, so I went to Google Translate. I asked him again, and then the rest of the day he was speaking Spanish to me. And I was like, no entiendo, lo siento. I'm practicing endurance with them with work, so I set the timer and then they were expected to write for as long as the timer was running. For math, we were practicing how to show whiteboard answers, so writing your answer, covering it up, and locking it in, and showing it to me whenever I said so. And we also used base 10 blocks. Some kids were playing with it a lot. Math manipulatives are always so tricky to teach because the kids have so many temptations to play with it rather than actually use it. I introduced our behavior chart. This took a while for them to do and I was almost late to dismissal, which is huge no-no at my school. We need to work on following directions because some kids colored the entire month. The kids are starting to remember their numbered order, so that's a good thing. I spoke to all 3 of the other first grade teachers after school, so I do have a better sense of what to do tomorrow. It's 6:44 right now. I don't have my specific plan, but I do have ideas, so I'm going to work on that. I am hopeful that there will be no tears tonight. I think once we really start teaching our first grade standards, the experienced teachers have a lot of resources and I think that the structure will help me more. We made it to Friday. I really need to refill my water bottle because I do not drink enough water throughout the day and I always forget to. To go over my plan before I pick up the kids, we're going to have an assembly this morning, so I need to go over assembly expectations. When we all come back from the assembly, I'm going to have them work on penmanship practice. The school provided me with this. It pretty much has each letter in the alphabet and they write the letters and then copy down the sentence or words. I'm going to have them practice doing independent work while I work with a small group and teaching the expectations of what it's like when I really am going to work with small groups and having no students being able to come up to me. My first grade team is so supportive and they just always give as much information as they can. One of them just walked in right now and was like, I'll give you the schedule that I have daily because we're supposed to send our daily schedule to the secretary. I feel very fortunate to have been at this school because before coming in, I had no idea what to expect. I knew that they were super data driven because this was one of the worst schools in the district and then they became the top one. So the expectation here is really high. It's been such an overwhelming experience, but anytime I have a question, they always have an answer to it. So it's been very helpful in transitioning. I had a really tough day after the first day. I'm starting to feel a little more confident in my plans because I'm getting so many ideas from them. It is such a great day so far. We had our assembly and my students were really good at keeping their bodies together, and when it was time to line up, they understood that the first row goes up first and then walks and then the second row follows without me reminding them of anything. And when we lined up, they quickly picked up on the second row waits while the first row walks and then they follow afterwards. We got compliments from the principal and the teacher specialist that our line was really good. I also started to have them practice working independently and pretending that I was working with a small group. Well, I was working with a child, but they are so good at like whispering and working. I mean, sometimes I would find some kids like staring off into space, but I would say their name and then they would pick up their pencil and continue working. This was the first time ever practicing not being able to speak to me while I'm working with a group. I'm just so amazed with their independence. And this lasted about 30 minutes while they were working on their penmanship practice. I do need to go back on this and make sure that they are actually reading the words too and practicing to decode, because I didn't hear many people whispering like I told them to. But it's okay. It was the first day and they're going to practice. We also practiced counting to 100 with our fingers, and it was pretty cute because I was walking around and be like, how do we show that we have 11? Does anyone have 11 fingers? And I was looking around, they were laughing. Every time we got to tens, we would throw our hands in the air, and they were so excited. When they come back from lunch, we're going to read We Don't Eat Our Classmates, and then I'm going to try doing this teaching strategy that the school uses. I'm not too familiar with reciprocal teaching, but it is predicting, questioning, clarifying, and summarizing. So I'm going to try my best to add those into this book somewhere, and it is like the first introduction to them predicting. After that, I'm going to have them practice writing like CVC words and silent E. That way I can take formative assessments for their spelling. And then after will be art. For the iPhone goals, I finally printed out pictures because I finally have each of them, and they're just going to paste it, cut this, glue it. This is going to be art. It's a little turtle, and then they're going to do a Zentangle pattern into each one. So the turtle actually looks so funny to me, but my teacher had it and I didn't want to think of another plan. I made it small so that it would all fit here because this bulletin's pretty small and I have 21 kids. So hopefully it'll all fit and then we will be good for back to school night. I mean, just the look of it though. I don't have any slides or plans for back to school night yet. I don't even think I ever showed this. This is the whole classroom reward system. So it has little duckies, and once they hit this line, I don't know what the prize is. It will probably be stickers and then recess. I did a little assessment on their spelling. So CVC words, they are pretty good at. There's some that confuse it, like when I said map, someone spelled mop. And then silent E's, they do not know that. Digraphs, they need practice too. So that's probably something that I will do next week. This is how their turtles turned out, and they're really cute, and I'm so excited to put it up for back to school night.